Thanks for staying with us. So we started a conversation concerning boarding schools, and the businessman Wale Jana advised parents against sending their children to either only boys or only girls school, or generally boarding schools. According to him, he was sharing a story of how a senior in an all-boys school at the time allegedly sexually assaulted him constantly, and also assaulted, no, not him, assaulted junior boys. Yes, let me correct that. So allegedly sexually assaulted junior boys. In his opinion, attending same-sex schools can cause more damage than good. And furthermore, many have also said that sending your children to boarding houses is no longer the best option. You'd rather have your children stay at home because of all the various vices that we're seeing today. Now, our question, therefore, is, do you agree that it is it's the values we are exposed to in boarding houses can still be achieved in today's times? Or do you think times have changed? Keep your children in the house. What are your thoughts? Yes.
I think there are two issues here. So the same-sex school, I wouldn't encourage that for children these days. I went to an all-girls school, but I wasn't in the hostel. I was a day student, and I knew some of the experience that those people in the hostel had, that they would come and relate in class. Some were interesting, some were scary, but it wasn't all that at the time. But one of the reasons I wouldn't like a same-sex school is because I feel that when children are released into school, it's like a mini society where they are built to be able to navigate the real society when they graduate. And so in the real society, we don't have just all girls banks, all girls churches, all girls marketplaces. We have a mix of all the sexes. And if they are not able to learn how to communicate, how to handle issues, how to start, because even at that time, we parents, we like to close our eyes to everything that's happening in school. So in your mind, my child is going to school just to get the education, but they will still go to school and learn how to toast a babe. If that is taken away from them, I really do not know how they will balance. That's my own thinking.
Okay. What's most important for me about schools is not about whether it's same-sex or not. It's the age of that child that is going to the school and the personality of the child going to school. Some people have gone to same-sex schools, boarding schools, and they have done so well, and they have flourished and they thrive. But there are some people who could not stand it. Even when I went, there were some children who had to be taken out. It's important for our children to grow a bit, to mature a bit before you put them in situations like that. Also, I want to encourage children, which is something that I started doing recently, where my children are interacting with neighborhood kids. So we are not taking your child from just that protective space in your house straight into a place where they now all of a sudden have to learn these skills. So they are practicing the skills at home, and you're watching them and correcting them as they are, navigating friendships in the area before they go to school. So those are the things that are important. This particular tweet mentioned
abuse, sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse. So sexual abuse happens in same-sex schools as well as mixed schools. And that is why it's important that your child is old enough to be able to understand that this is abuse coming to me and I should run away from it and report it. Some children may not have been taught from when they were at home or in primary school what the signs are of someone trying to abuse you, and they think that they have to be quiet because a senior has told them that.
I want us to touch.
I went to a mixed school, and I think it worked for me because of my already very religious background where everybody was separated. So we didn't have mixed in my house. The girls' room was clear, the boys' room was clear, and there was no mixing. You can't be visiting as a boy and be found wandering in the inner area of my house. So in the school, then it was okay to have. Sometimes you find yourself sitting with a boy. But the school, at some point, I particularly would say, please go and find another place. So for me, watching my children and reading all that I read every day on the news, I'm scared about if something were to happen, even though I've raised my children to speak. If something happens and my child what happened to the woman, the Akwa Ibom woman's case? Such a situation where the child now loses the will to talk to their parents, or the deed had already been done, the damage is done, you're working. I don't want to ever face that. So that's for me. It's not like there are no good boarding schools, but that's why I'm thinking no boarding school for my children.
But how do we as parents help these children? We've sent them out to the world. We've equipped them. They can speak up, but they get into a school system It doesn't allow them to express themselves. How?
Okay, so for a deliberate parent, there's a level of care that you can give to your children that no other person can give to that child. I'm talking about people who are deliberate about parenting, people who understand how to observe their children, how to listen to their children, how to pick up signs of what the kids are not saying. Because sometimes they're going through things and they're not really speaking to you, but you can tell as a mother, you can tell as a father that something is not right. This is not how my son usually is. For a child who is naturally curious, the burden is not the best place.
See, I don't want to wait to pick up signs. I want to prevent it. I don't even want to let the child go through it and start saying, okay, he's quiet, he's not doing this. That's too late. You
can't help everything.
We want to protect them from the world. You know, there's this thing happening recently. My daughter and one of my neighborhood friends seem to keep clashing.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking of maybe taking her, you know, just reducing the time that they are in contact. And my husband says, no, let's have faith and let her learn how to resolve it. So that's what we need to do. But the thing is, I think we need to create small mock situations for them so that we see how they handle it. You know, there was something you shared with us one time about your first daughter, how she addressed somebody that was rude and warned and went to the parents and reported. For me, I felt you should be proud of that. You know that when she finds herself outside home, that is exactly how she would carry herself. So we cannot protect them from everything.
Some mothers have to work. Yesterday, my husband was like, Nima, you're not doing enough for these children. I was looking at him like, have I ever asked you not to go to work? But, you know, I came home late yesterday for traffic, not because I didn't leave where I had to leave early. But then that's the reality of some parents. Finding their lives and, you know, having families, they have to do both. They can't give up one for the other. Some don't even have the luxury of giving up one. You dare it is to not even give life to the children at all, not to give them comfortable upbringing. So you now choose. Maybe the evil at home, maybe it's a family member who is living with you at home. For women who don't have voices, where they have a relative living with them and the relative is an abuser. And you have spotted it. But if you gather in family command and say, you are the divider. The family that I have been struggling to unite, the family that I have been raising all my life, you came outside that woman to come and divide it just because you spotted the truth and you decided to say it. So you then have to decide how you want to protect your children. So which one is the lesser evil? You know, if you take them to boarding school, you're not comfortable. But if you leave them at home, you will run mad entirely. So it's one you will choose.